the big thing everyone's been asking, I know your fans been asking, and Storm View just done a review.
Of course,
Avengers Age of Ultron. I liked some of it. I thought the sound was a bit off. I wasn't on that Black Widow Hulk thing. That was the most awkward, uncomfortable thing I've ever had to watch twice now because I saw it last night. It makes no sense in any context of this movie or any of the other movies because they did nothing to set this up. And it's just like, hey, you know what? I like my men green. But like, because I know I've talked a lot, so we'll get to like Joel's Storm. My one thing, James Spader is amazing. He's amazing. He's by far my favorite Marvel villain now. James Spader was born to play Ultron, and I love the fact that he's just basically Robert California or Red Reddington in Ultron's body, and it makes me really, really sad Ultron's gone. I want more Ultron. Okay. But Joel, what did you think of Age of Ultron?
I liked it. Great movie. Not better than the first. Now, there's to say, I will give my final determination when I get to see that Joss Whedon cut.
Damn straight.
But so far, this
actually
68 minutes of the fucking movie. That's what they cut out.
I wonder, like, what they actually like.
Probably all the parts that seem super rushed.
Yeah, thank you.
Because here's the thing, right? The first one is so much more focused than this one, because there are parts when you watch the movie, and remember, people, fucking great movie. I highly enjoyed it. There are parts where all of a sudden, like, shit just goes like super fast, and you're like, wait a minute, man, this feels like a whole chunk was missing. Like, Vision, they kind of, do like a little mad science experiment.
They just make him,
and I've literally seen more I've seen more complications trying to boil a hot dog than they did to make freaking Vision. And he just like pops off, and he's like, well, I am what I am, and he gets ready, and that's it. And no, we need more time, right? Yes. And this happens multiple times throughout the movie, and it kind of just like, it doesn't ruin the pace, but it does mess with it. Like Ultron 2, he wakes up from consciousness, then the very next scene he already has his body. Like, the fuck? Or why did Black Widow get kidnapped? She had no purpose for him whatsoever. Like, she's just in a cage as like some kind of pet. And then Bruce Banner finds her. Like, how did you get in there? How did you get past all the security? How did nobody hear you? Where is everybody?
That was a problem. Yeah. That was the problem.
Clearly, either one or two things happened with that sequence. Either Joss Whedon went full-on retard and filmed it wrong, or they fucking cut. Or they fucking cut a giant amount of the film, because that made no sense whatsoever. Though my really biggest gripe is the fact that the movie borderline has no OST. Its audio design is kind of shitty, because like all the fight scenes and all the grand scenes don't have this giant luster to them, or grand scale of epicness, because there's no music. Like, they're fighting in silence most of the time, and yeah, it looks cool, but it doesn't like convey the drama because there's nothing musically there. Like when all the Ultron drones are like converging onto the Avengers,
useless, by the way.
Yeah, but they're.
Oh, yeah, by the way, if anybody's listening to this and you haven't figured it out already, we're going deep into spoiler territory. So.
Oh, we are, yeah.
Yeah.
So we ain't fucking around here, guys.
WLC. Spoiler alert! If you keep on listening beyond this point, it's your own damn fault. So they're all converging on them, and they fight them, and like for almost the first to the middle half of that fight sequence is just silence, and it feels awkward. It didn't really work well in The Dark Knight Rises. It didn't work well here. Like when they assembled in the first movie and you hear the like epic track, it adds that scene. It makes it so much more cooler. And so I found that troubling, because sound is the other half of cinema. So we should have proper sound design here, and we didn't. I love James Spader as Ultron. I thought he should have been a little more serious than he was. I'm not that mad because they patterned his brain after Tony Stark, so it only makes sense that he's kind of like cocky and dickish. But at the same time, that's not what Ultron is in the comics, so I'm giving it like a minor pass. In the MCU, I get it, and it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to the comics route. I'd rather see him with a more serious nuance to him. Love Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I found the Days of Future Past Quicksilver to be more entertaining, but I like the Avengers one because he's more faithful to the comics. What happened to Quicksilver? Fucking bullshit.
I completely disagree with that last statement, but okay.
Yeah, because one looks
his
like a damn
look,
thing
yeah,
in the
but
comics.
his personality, no.
Best scene in the movie, the freaking the Hulkbuster scene, incredible. Only let down again by the music. Oh, the Ragnarok tease, other stuff like that. It just felt like he was being a plot device. Like, I'm gonna say this, but it really has nothing to do with
the movie,
this film whatsoever. You could have cut like that was the really weird thing, is that you have some scenes that should have been done better
movie at all.
Yeah, that should have either been done better or had no point in existing, and then they had scenes that needed to be extended and weren't. For example, you have Visions or Hulk saving Black Widow. Those scenes cut and they needed more time. But then you've got like the farm scene, which I think should have been done better before fucking Storms has an aneurysm, right? Now, what I'm not saying that I don't want Hawkeye to have character development. As a matter of fact, what he displayed, I highly like. My point is, I like Hawkeye. I don't give a shit about his family that he just introduced out of like thin air. I don't like in Iron Man 3. I didn't give a fuck about the random kid that they just like threw like, here you are, right, attached to this guy. I didn't give a fuck about the kid in Avengers 2 either, right? Like I really don't like it when movies just do that, right? I am following Hawkeye. I don't give a fuck about his son.
We might as well just put some kids in it.
I don't give a fuck about his wife. None of this, right? Care about
even though
him.
the scenes were great,
right? I'm not saying the scene was shot poorly, right? I'm just saying if it was me, I would have done it differently. Like I know they need a scene to slow down, right? A sequence to slow down, and I get it. I would have much preferred if they went to some Shield bunker, right? Kind of like what they did in Agents of Shield when they were supposed to find Fury and they had that calm down scene. I would have preferred if they did something akin to that, right? And they're touching upon general themes that we'll look into in the future, like Civil War. And then they see Fury and then they talk. It's tighter. It makes a little more sense, and it allows more time to be applied to things that are better. Again, the Thor Ragnarok thing, I'm looking forward to the movie. It had no place. Shouldn't have even been there.
Are we not going to talk about the fact that the movie does not explain where Fury got his entire helicopter?
Thank you. No.
Agents of Shield. That was in last night's episode of Agents of Shield where he got the helicarrier.
Pisses me off.
With Agents of Shield, you can't just put that shit on screen.
Thank you.
Olsen was working on it the whole time with Nick Fury. It was Project Protocol or whatever the fuck it was called.
Protocol.
But how? Yeah, I feel like that's one of the scenes in the movie that got cut. Like there was a scene where Nick Fury like goes to Coulson, because I was so surprised Coulson wasn't in that battleship and didn't have a cameo. I was expecting.
I'm surprised that Coulson wasn't in the movie.
Want Coulson in the fucking movie?
But
you got a record saying that.
But like the thing is like yeah, it's in the show, but it is like I can't be expected to watch the show to know what's happening in the movie. So like I feel like it's a scene that got cut, but it's like an important like 2 lines.
In context of just the movie, you can just look at it and go, "Oh look, Deus Ex helicarrier." That's all it fucking is.
Oh look, the device is here.
Sort of, but I watch Agents of Shield.
Sort of not ass. Exactly.
No, because I'm with Storms here because I watch Agents of Shield too, so it wasn't like a surprising thing.
It was if you haven't seen last night. If you saw the movie before last night's episode.
Well, hey,
and bullshit. Okay,
hold on.
You have to explain this in the fucking film.
Time out. Before Nick Fury left Hawkeye's house, he said he had something planned. Okay, so it ain't like he just came out of fucking nowhere. You think Nick Fury has been doing shit since he left Winter Soldier?
Well, what?
I do.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Do you want to see him building the fucking thing?
No, but like, there's a difference between having something planned and then just pulling a giant flying battleship that we all.
He said he was gonna pull something out of his ass. He said it before he left the farm.
That's such a lazy storytelling.
It really is.
How is it lazy?
Because it's basically giving Nick Fury a pass to be like, shit. Well, we wrote this action scene into a corner, but as long as we have Nick Fury earlier saying he's going to go off and do some stuff, whether it's groceries or whatever, we could just write Nick Fury into the story at that moment.
How many times in the fucking comic books he pulls shit like that?
No, he does, but like,
but
I
it
feel
needs
like
to make sense in the context of a film. That's
like,
the thing.
He did. He said, "I'm gonna do something." He did something.
The logic follows,
needed
man.
to like have like one character be like, "Where'd you get that?" He's like, "Oh, I had it like decommissioned with a bunch of friends, and then we got it together, and we've been working on it for a while." That's all
The
it needs
movie
to be
is
said.
coming to an end. Do you want a character to say, "Where did you get that helicarrier?" Well,
Yes!
the story. We were actually working on this with Coulson, who you guys thought was dead.
How is Captain not going to question it when he literally destroyed
So all of them.
Well, I don't think at the moment.
Coulson was hiding this thing. They had no idea that there was a friggin' helicarrier there. You're not even gonna know there was a helicarrier unless you've seen that episode of Agents of Shield.
Well, I don't think Captain America is gonna question that thing when a fucking continent is essentially crashing down into the ground.
But like, still, like, that's one of the things that's like, I feel like, and I'm sure it probably was in the movie, and they cut it out because they needed to cut down more time on the movie. I feel like that's part of the 68 where they explain like a brief few seconds where they explain it, so I can't be too bad, but it still does it. It's basically like Nick Fury, the plot device mover. Like,
okay, guys, can I just go into my thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Storm's
I got stuff to say too.
In the beginning, when they're all just fighting, okay, when it started out, I was already like, what the fuck? Okay, first of all, completely wasted Baron Van Strucker. Completely. Why the fuck was he in this movie? He's such a useless villain. Okay,
Well,
and one, I didn't like the I don't care how cool it looked. The opening fight scene was just a giant mindfuck. Like, all right, first off, unless you've seen the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that premiered before the movie did, you're not going to know why the Avengers are assembled, because they all go their separate ways at the end of the first film, and suddenly in the beginning of this one, immediately, they're all assembled.
Yeah, but they explained that, though. They explained that like 10 minutes later, that they're hunting for...
No. I get that. I completely understand that. Here's my issue. Okay, they assembled to get the staff. Okay, let's review. They didn't assemble when a terrorist almost fucking killed Tony. They didn't assemble when S.H.I.E.L.D. was falling and Hydra was about to take over. They didn't fucking assemble when the dorky elf villain was about to take over the fucking universe. But they assembled to get a stick.
Well, I have to actually take Storm's side on that, because a lot of what was happening with Thor and Captain America and Iron Man 3 were pretty much happening in conjunction with each other. So they're not like this happened and this happened, this happened. They're pretty much all kind of running along the same timeline. So while like Captain America was like dealing with Bucky, Iron Man was getting attacked by the guy. So they're all dealing with their own things converging, and I don't think you can argue about the idea that we need
no, they're all taking place in different time frames if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if you want to bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into this...
But even to like Storm's point, they do explain like within like 5 minutes of the movie while
listen, I'm not saying it's... Listen, I'm not saying it's a big problem. Okay, it was just an issue for me personally. Okay, I would have liked a better explanation for them being assembled after all this time. I wanted a better explanation than just saying, "Oh, we're hunting for this stick."
Out of the four, like the only one who's on this whole Black Widow Hulk thing.
Okay. The thing is, I liked it. Okay, because I felt that they gave the two of them enough in common. All right, for them to have a relationship. Okay, again, I do agree. Came the fuck out of nowhere, and what pissed me off about it was that it did not have a fucking payoff in the end. Okay, like if you had them going away together or something like that, like, okay, I can get behind that. Or if you had them, like, maybe, all right, we'll focus on their relationship again in the next film. But no, they're not going to do that. Hulk just goes away, and it just pisses me off. Okay, back to Strucker. They just killed Strucker, so I'm just wondering what the fuck was even the point of bringing him into this. Why was Ulysses Claw in this fucking movie?
And a Black Panther.
I know, but he had no place in this fucking movie!
To get the to get the medal, man!
Yeah, I can't really...
They didn't need to get it from him!
Yeah, I can't
really... It's the perfect way to set up Black Panther, plus further along how Ultron gets the medal. It kills two birds with one stone.
Can't really argue with
Claw had all the vibranium.
He had no place in this fucking movie. I'm sorry.
He had a place in the movie. It was right where they gave him, and it worked great.
One scene? You're gonna better this big villain for one scene?
That's all he needed.
The movie's 2.5 hours long as is. Like, they don't need more on this character that's only...
Alright, secondly, okay, the Hulkbuster scene, it looked awesome. I'm not gonna lie, like, that scene was fucking great. Okay, my problem is, it's too fucking short. And it should have been, like, I wanted that to be, like, somewhere towards the end of the movie so we could have it be longer. Okay, because it's only, like, a minute and a half long. I wanted, like, a bigger brawl than that, than just, like, a minute and a half of Hulkbuster. Okay, I liked the whole code name they gave it, Veronica. I thought that was hilarious.
I'm pretty sure Tony Stark loses.
Alright, but here's my bigger fucking problem, okay? Scarlet Witch, she messes with Tony's mind to imagine him, so he can imagine the Avengers dead, so he'll take the staff, and he'll do something. Bitch, you've been wanting your revenge on this dude. He's right in front of you. Fuck the staff breaking his mind. You can fucking break his mind. And Quicksilver can literally kill his ass.
Well, he tried. Quicksilver tried.
Right fucking in front of you.
How could you miss? He was 3 feet in front of you.
And again, what Joel was saying, this movie is very unfocused. A lot of the times, there's so much shit that did not need to be in here. Okay, I did not need to see that scene with fucking Thor and Ragnarok. Did not need that at all. Did not fucking need it. Why was that in the goddamn movie? Had nothing to do with this. And possibly my biggest problem with this movie. If you're gonna show me Age of Ultron, have them fucking show it! In the grand scheme of things, yeah, he destroys an entire, like, or whatever. He lifts it up, and he's about to drop it down, but the Avengers stop. Okay. In the comics, he fucking decimates us!
Yeah, but...
I'm expecting to see that, and I'm expecting to see, maybe, halfway through, have Ultron pretty much decimate us, have him... win, then have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, defect over, realizing what they did helping him was wrong, have the Avengers pretty much broken. Have them be broken and have them thinking that everything they fought for up until now was for nothing.
But the Age of Ultron comic takes place years after Age of Ultron's already been in the comic several times, and the Age of Ultron comic actually takes place in an alternate reality that breaks the reality to combine the Ultimate Universe and the 616 universe together. So that's a story that's completely out of context.
And don't forget about the whole future jumping thing.
Yeah, because we read back and forth. But anyway, Josh Whedon said it's only going to be titled of the movie is not going to have anything to do with Age of Ultron.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's the thing that did piss me off, and it should apply regardless of Ant-Man or Tony Stark creating it. Ultron is not a robot. Ultron is an AI. That's why he can constantly keep upgrading, go back, forward in times, whatever, because he's not a physical being. He's just consciousness. And fucking, I already gave the spoiler alert, so hey, if you didn't see it, fuck it. And Vision just destroys him physically. Right? And then that's it. That's the end of Ultron, which is fucking bullshit.
That's what I believe. I doubt that, though.
Because no.
He was never physical to begin with.
Joel, hold on. I actually saw it last night, and there's a quick point where Vision grabs Ultron, and you see like the orange and the blue fighting in the Digisphere. Like they go over it so fast, but Tony notes that Vision basically locks him out of his own AI from the rest of the world. So all he is linked to the suit. So all they have to do, because he can't link back up to the internet and basically dump his memory like an AI would. So they do make a point that Vision basically locks him out. Now, I don't know anything about Vision. I don't know if he can actually do that in the comics, but that's what happens.
I don't
think
so.
Like, a lot of this movie, it did feel unfocused and rushed, and I do feel like a lot of my problems could be solved with an extended cut, okay? I want to see that fucking 3-hour version of this movie.
You probably
because I want to see if a lot of my fucking problems are done. Because an extended cut's already been announced. Okay, but for all we know, extended cut could be, they added 10 minutes back into the movie. No. I want that 3 fucking hour cut. Now. Alright, and I want to see if a lot of my problems can be fixed with this. Alright, and again, that whole fucking helicarrier bullshit at the end. Like, the thing is, I just... No, because unless you've seen the episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it just comes out of nowhere.
Right,
and it doesn't work for me.
Let's give Storm the chance. Go
ahead.
Go
Storm.
All right, everybody was talking. I kind of jotted down some notes so I can keep on track here. First of all, I want to say that I enjoyed the movie. I seen it Thursday night at midnight. I seen it Friday morning and Saturday morning. So I said all 3 days back to back. One, just because I didn't want my expectations to differ it. The second one, it kind of, give it a second view. And the third one, I kind of took mental notes on what I was seeing so I can kind of argue points of people who give negative thoughts to it. So, first of all, look, yes, all of us, I think, would agree, would love to see the 3-hour cut. However, not everybody going to see this movie is going to be a hardcore comic book fan. You're going to have a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people in the movies. All them people who gets up at the credits and never stays for the after credit scene. Those are all your average viewers. Okay, so they don't want to see a 3.5 hour. Okay, so a lot of the complaints that Adam was talking about, a lot of that can be easily explained. But the one thing that I do agree with everybody is the Thor scene. Now, look, the Thor scene led to Ragnarok. We all agree to that. We all think it's pointless. But it did kind of give us an idea on the Infinity Gems.
And we already had from Guardians, though.
We did, but they gave a more thorough explanation, showing how many there actually are. And the fact that Thor even mentions at the end when he's talking to Captain America and Iron Man that there's no coincidence that 4 Infinity Gems all show up within the past 4 years, that they're being played as pawns. So Thor figured that out. That was the whole point of him going off on that little expedition, whatever he was doing. He kind of figured that out. I do agree that I think maybe not so much it was pointless, but I think it was just odd and out of place. But his vision did lead him to go and make.
It could have been executed better.
Yeah, it could have been executed. Exactly, Joel. It could have been executed better. I don't think it was out of place. I just think it wasn't executed right. Because it led to him waking up Vision, giving Vision the extra power to wake him up. And it gave us the idea that, you know what? Everything we've seen up to now has all been a chess game, and there have been pawns. Okay, and Thanos is the one pulling everybody's strings. No strings attached. I don't have strings. Guess what? The whole meaning of that movie was there is strings. Thanos is pulling everybody's strings to get those Infinity Gems to surface. So I think the Thor scene is relevant to that, but it wasn't executed right. The Nick Fury thing, whether you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or not, the fact of the matter is he's been gone since Winter Soldier. You cannot sit there and honestly think that he's just been laying low. He had to be doing something. He even told you guys before he left the farm he has something up his sleeve. So it shouldn't be no surprise that he pulled something out like that. He's Nick fucking Fury, people. He's gonna come up with something. So the left scene, I just find it uncomfortable out of left field. And not only that, now my wife is always going, "Hey, big guy, something's coming up real."
It sounds getting real low.
Yeah. So I just felt it odd, and the ending, I just didn't like how he just left on a freaking airplane. If they were gonna go with that, then they should have had this real sad scene with him being shipped up in outer space.
Planet Hulk.
Everybody on Earth.
Planet Hulk.
So I thought that was horrible. I covered the 3-hour cut. Age of Ultron. I pretty much covered everything. Look, this movie has flaws, okay, but I don't think the flaws are so bad to where we're gonna sit there and go, "Oh, this movie's horrible" or whatnot. The first one
no. It's several little annoying things as opposed to a couple of big ones.
Here's my whole consensus on it. Okay, I don't think this movie is great. However, I do think it's good. It's a good movie. Okay, my final grade on this movie is a B. Okay, I don't think it's a bad movie.
The first Avengers movie, if you go back and watch that movie, I like that movie. But it was so simple. There wasn't really no plot. It was oh, aliens are coming to take over, Avengers assemble. This movie had to cover a lot of stuff moving forward. It had to cover Civil War. It had to cover Thor. It had to cover the Infinity Gem. Plus, explain this complex story of Ultron coming to life, Vision coming to life, plus the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been dismembered due to Winter Soldier, the events in that movie. There was a lot of stuff that happened since the last Avengers movie that all had to be explained in some way or form.
You see,
so it had a lot of stuff to do in this movie.
See, let me chime in with something here. I think part of that problem is Marvel's fault. And I had been complaining about this since Phase 3.
It is Marvel's fault. It is Marvel's fault, not Joss's.
Definitely not Joss's. Since Phase 3. Why? One idea that I had pitched a long time ago, as soon as they announced that Age of Ultron would be the title of Avengers 2, is use the post-credit scenes to add into the creation of Ultron, right? So, like, Iron Man 3 would end with, like, you know, him being on a computer, and it says, like, accessing program Ultron, right? And it would just end. Bam. And then the next one, you can, like, you know, see, you know, the body, and then, like, you know, the red glowing eyes, and you see that the program is becoming corrupt. Then in the next one, I don't know, tease an Infinity Gem or something in Guardians. Like, you know what I mean? Set it up. That way, when Age of Ultron starts, you've done a great deal of work by just directly and quickly addressing the inception of Ultron, and now you don't have to deal with that in the beginning of the movie, and you now made more time. And of course, the movie should have been 3 hours. But I think,
and this is something that I have with this film as a sequel. Okay, what I loved about the first Avengers, and why I do feel it is a superior film, is one, it had a more even flow, and two, what really worked about it was its simplicity. All right, with this, okay, the reason I don't think this movie stands on its own. It doesn't stand on its own. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. Look at some of the greatest sequels of all time, okay? Let's just name 3 off the top of my head. Empire Strikes Back, Aliens, Terminator 2. You could watch any 3 of those movies without having watched any of their predecessors and know exactly what's going on all throughout.
However, Marvel
in this
is the universe, though.
I get that, okay? But the Avengers, in the first one, you could look at it without seeing the other 5 films and still know what's going on. You can't.
It's the first one. It doesn't have all the baggage.
It had the first 5 movies.
It only had, but look though, Avengers 2 had to cover everything from Phase 1 and Phase 2. Avengers 1 only had to cover the little bit of films in Phase 1. They get together and they fight the fucking alien. Avengers 2, they had to cover all the backstory, plus add, you know, there's people complaining that there wasn't enough Easter eggs leading into the next Phase 3. Okay? And I thought there was a lot to go by.
And that's my point of why it needed to be a longer movie.
Yes, but the average person doesn't want to sit through that length of a movie. We do, because we're fucking nuts. But the people, you see...
And straight we are! 100%!
You see how many people get up when the credits roll and don't stay for the end scene. Those are all your average viewers. Those are the people who do not want to sit through a 3.5 hour movie. You know, we're fucking stupid. We go see movies 3, 4, 5 times. Okay? And we still stay for the end credit scenes. But we're not your average fans. We are both comic book and movie fans. Okay, your average people who go to a movie maybe twice a year don't want to see a 3.5 hour movie.
I understand, but to cover everything that this movie wanted to cover, it still needed to be longer. That is my thing, and I understand the whole thing with the moviegoers and having to cut it down for the movie-going audience. But the cut that they made, it just didn't work as a whole because it doesn't stand on its own. Everything in this movie is so reliant on everything that came before it that it just, if you came into this without seeing the other things, you're going to be lost.
If
that's my issue with it.
If that's your gripe, then you're going to be really pissed when you go see Infinity War.
Damn straight. Because that's going to be 2 parts. That's going to be 2 parts, though. So that has a basis to cover everything.
Do you think they're going to spend the whole first part going, yeah, well, Loki got this gem and back in this way, he got this one there? No, they're going to expect you to already know what the fuck the gems are, or the one they already got so far. They're not going to sit there. They're not going to sit there and try to recap everything.
Yeah. Also, they're going to have to like work to explain like Guardians and like the 95% of the other superheroes being pushed in this movie.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm not too excited about Phase 3.
I'm indifferent at this point.
Like I like some of the movies that are coming, but like just a handful. Like the rest of them, I could give two shits about. I don't give a shit about Doctor Strange. Don't give a shit about Ant-Man. Don't give a shit about Captain Marvel because Black Widow should have gotten her own movie, not her. Okay, do not give a shit about Thor Ragnarok. Do not give a shit about Inhumans.
To be fair, a lot of us about a year and a half ago said we don't give a shit about Guardians of the Galaxy. Now it's like one of all of our favorite movies.
That's a good point. Okay, so I'll give you that one. But again, so far I'm just not feeling Phase 3.
I'm feeling Phase 3 except for Inhumans, but then again, I don't even like the Inhumans in comics.
I mean, we all know Mad Max is going to be better than Avengers anyway because it's Mad Max. I mean that's
says Jigsaw in an isolated room alone.
We already know it.
You keep thinking that because I'm going to see Pitch Perfect 2 next week instead.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Don't worry, Jigsaw. I'll see Mad Max.
I just see Storm like in a theater, a bunch of little girls singing along. some girl like mispronounces Taylor Swift's name. She's T-Swizzle. Punch her in the face. You understand?
We love you, Storms.
No, we all. I mean, in all seriousness, it's gonna be fun.
Wait, Storm. Oh my God. I fell asleep through part of it, but I want you to see it. There is an episode of Bob's Burgers.
That is the worst setup to try to get somebody to watch something else.
Wow, I fell asleep for this, but you should totally watch it.
Halfway through. Imagine if anybody else started something like that. Listen, I got this really great band, but I fell asleep like halfway through this. But I promise they're good for like the 50% of the song I heard.
It is an episode of Bob's Burgers dedicated solely to making fun of My Little Pony and bronies. So you should just watch it. I think they call it Equestria Boys or something. So I'm not even lying. I'm not lying.
Adam, to be fair, it's not hard to make fun of you.
That is true. So I won't spoil it at all. You get back here. What are you gonna do? Cross the street?
Whatever. I do what I want.
I have a pony doll.
It's a good thing that people can't see this. If they
he has a pony doll, so that he's playing with.
No. It's not a pony doll. If you've been to his place, it's actually like a shelf of them.
You have a shelf of them? What is wrong?
Yes. That
is not true.
That is so true.
All right. We're going to get off track horribly wrong, just making fun of them, which we can do forever. And I promise people out there, we're going to try to get these on a more consistent...
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, everyone, just give a final rating on Age of Ultron. Mine's a B. It's a 7 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
8.5.
Probably not the same. 7.5.
Yeah.
What about Storms?
I give it a 9.
So really? We got 2 7s, an 8.5, and a 9. Anyway, then we'll try this. We'll try this again, and hopefully it won't be 3 years running.
Don't worry, kids. Critics Assemble will come out about 2000.
You talk to Tedesco about that.
Tedesco my ass, motherfucker! You're supposed to be editing it.
Yeah. You're right. And the fucking animation sequence which Tedesco was supposed to work on continuously. He's the one that's supposed to cartoonize you.
Don't worry, kid. Don't worry, kids. It'll come out.
You just gotta keep believing. Anyway, we'll try doing this next week. Any last comments?
No.
All right. Well,
Terminator Ganesha's can eat a dick.
Till then, we'll